captured snake by the head so that it can't defend itself, and then starting to swallow it before killing it. The truth is that the hunter, a king snake, can't squeeze its prey and kill it by constricting it. The prey is almost as long as the king snake itself, so the king snake can only swallow it alive and wait for its prey to suffocate inside its digestive tract. King snake's prey are often rattlesnakes and other venomous species. King snakes have developed great immunity to those venoms, but their strategy practically leaves their prey no chance to bite back anyway. A snake has to be a super snake to devour another serpent. As we've seen, snakes' tongues are a super tracking organ, but perhaps it can also be used as a lure to attract prey. Some snakes stick it out in a curious way, as if they were imitating the movement of a worm. What's more, snakes have different colored tongues. What would be the point of having a colorful tongue if it weren't to attract caterpillar hunters? It's the power to create illusions. The idea is consistent. Many snakes have strange protuberances on their faces that may also serve as lures. This could be a sprout to hunt plant eaters. Another thing that supports the hypothesis that snakes use lures is that some move their tails when they're nervous. This behavior is intended to draw attention. Faced with a predator, for example a bird, this movement would certainly divert the bird's attack with its beak far from the snake's head, which would be a kind of defense. But if the bird were smaller, this protective movement might become a way to hunt. In other words, a trap. Some species have already taken that step. When a cottonmouth is stalking prey, it leaves clearly visible the thin end of its tail, which is colored differently from the rest of its body. And it moves its tail not because it's nervous, but consciously, from one side to the other, slowly, the way a caterpillar moves. It's obviously a lure, a decoy, able to deceive animals looking for insects and larvae on the forest floor. And snakes move their tails for yet another purpose. Rattlesnakes shake their tails, which end in a series of modified scales, the famous rattle from which these serpents get their name. Rattlesnakes warn anything that approaches them of the danger that they represent. they're perhaps the noblest animal on the planet. They don't want to harm anyone unless it's absolutely necessary. Their rattle is formed by a set of dry, hollow rings of keratin that nest inside one another. The number of rings increases as the snake grows. The rattle is an evolutionary adaptation to prevent other animals from stepping on them, and it's an effective measure to discourage any possible predators. In order to look even more threatening, rattlesnakes arch their bodies in an S shape and writhe. But they only bite if they feel that they have no other alternative. Before resorting to their venom, many snakes prefer to warn possible enemies of the danger they face if they bother them. They don't do it out of the goodness of their hearts. In reality, they just don't want to waste any of their venom. This desert viper warns passers-by of the mistake they would make if they walked within striking range by rubbing its scales together very hard to make a loud noise. It's a spine-chilling sound for most of the animals that ever hear it. But if you're not excessively curious, you won't get bitten by rattlesnakes, nor desert vipers, nor cobras. Cobras also make themselves very visible whenever they feel threatened. They rear up, raising as much as a third of their body off the ground. They open their hood. It's a very clear sign that you should not come any closer. Although this species of cobra doesn't need to bite in order to kill. It's a ring-necked spitting cobra from southern Africa, and it can spit its venom as far as 3 meters. Leopards know this and avoid them. Just like all the other animals that live in their habitat. But this was this young leopard's first run-in with a spitting cobra. It was lucky. Apparently, the venom didn't get in its eyes. The spitting cobra's venom has no effect if it falls on fur or skin, unless there's an open wound. But this cub could have been blinded, in which case it wouldn't have survived. Snakes that wear particularly colorful suits, especially if they feature striped patterns, do this as a warning. Rattles, hissing, hoods, and striking colors. It seems that snakes are determined to issue warnings before they attack. This is a false coral snake, which is protected by its appearance. Few animals would dare to attack it. 5 weeks have gone by since she mated, and she's found a good hiding place to lay her eggs, a hole under a tree trunk. The temperature and humidity are just right for her eggs to develop. Although some snakes, like the big pythons, brood their eggs, the normal thing is for snakes to abandon their offspring as soon as they've laid their eggs. Their maternal instinct goes no farther than looking for a safe place to hatch. Independence is the rule that governs the serpent family. Independence between mothers and children, and between males and females. They don't form couples. There is no collaboration. They have no relationship beyond copulation, and they don't even have to see each other every mating season. Some snakes have a superpower that enables them to store the male's sperm for years, while they wait for the right environmental conditions to fertilize their eggs. There are also ovoviviparous species, which means the females keep the eggs inside their bodies until the offspring are born. Such is the case with boas, sea snakes, and vipers. Their variety and adaptability is the snake's greatest superpower. And thanks to that superpower, snakes have colonized most of the planet's ecosystems. There are lots of snakes in rainforests and wetlands, but we also find them in cold regions, where they have learned how to hibernate during the toughest times of year. In some latitudes, they are only active half the time. They need temperatures above 20 degrees Celsius to be comfortable and responsive. They love the sun. That's why their favorite habitats are warm and dry. For them, the Earth's toughest deserts are paradise. Although sometimes the highest temperatures, not of the air, but of the ground, can destroy the snake's simple heart. They have to be careful. The surface of the sand can reach temperatures of more than 70 degrees Celsius. It's scorching, so the less contact with it, the better. The horned viper has invented a way to get around that allows it to move when all the other slitherers can't. It raises its head and arches its body, which it moves forward and to one side so that it only touches the ground on 2 or 3 spots on its belly. In the meantime, it forms another arch that changes the points of contact so that it doesn't burn its skin. The little sand boa is also a super snake with unique adaptations. The scales on its skin are flat. Its tiny eyes are partially sunken into its head to keep friction to a minimum. And its tapered snout is designed to let it dig more easily into the sandy soils where it lives. Snakes' locomotive mechanisms are quite varied, but they're not speedy creatures. That's why when danger appears, snakes rarely try to escape, but prefer to hide instead. The tarantula hasn't detected its potential meal, because that meal has literally gone undercover. The tactic of burying themselves is used by several snake species that live in sandy ecosystems. It's the only available hiding place. The horned viper is a real master at it. This extraordinary adaptation probably emerged as a way for the snake to protect itself from the sun's rays. And once they had learned how to bury themselves, they discovered the enormous superpower of invisibility. Snakes don't have to fight with their prey. They appear to let them escape, knowing full well that they will soon catch up to them when they're dead. The cycle closes. After 2 months in their eggs, the baby snakes have begun to hatch. They slowly peep out at the world around them. Before daring to come out for good, they'll spend at least a couple of days getting used to the surroundings. They're miniature versions of their parents. They need no more help than their instincts. Their yolk sacs have provided them with enough reserves to be able to go several days without eating, even a few weeks if they don't find any prey, although they know how to kill from the very first day. It's true that some snakes represent a real danger for humans, but they're a small minority. The World Health Organization says that barely 200 of the 3,000 known snake species are potentially harmful. And let's not forget their role in the ecosystem and in our surroundings. They're crucial to maintaining the balance. Without them, neither you nor I could survive. They never want to provoke the tragic incidents that some of them are involved in. They don't seek us out. They don't chase us. They aren't out to get us. No animal has bad intentions. and snakes are just like any other animal. It's just that we still know so little about them. In reality, that's the most dangerous thing about snakes: our ignorance.